Select an image in Affinity Photo and go to Filters, Blur and Custom Blur. Now this one is a slightly odd one as it doesn't have any presets, and you can see the default sometimes just completely blanks out the image. Very odd. However, what you got is this grid. You got 20 there to enter. You can enter between -100 and 100. There's no presets. The only way to probably save them is to use macros. You've also got this divisor, which it works out for you based on, you can see 20 there. So it's worked out a value of 20. And that's the normalized setting. So if you don't want that normalized, you can just turn it off. And then you can enter and override it. You can put it to 60, say, and you can see what happens. You get transparency. So it's actually more powerful than just being a custom blur. To be honest, I actually find it quite hard to achieve blurs with this. Actually, more often or not, when I'm going through this, I get sharpening effects or emboss effects. Very rarely anything that I think of as really brilliant blurs. Now, I might hit on something that, that it actually looks better with blur. But it's sometimes you get a slight blurring like this. If I put 20 there. But again, without presets, without things, it's very hard. You have to just go through it, try it out. Now, if you want to lighten things, so you enter 50 there, so you can see what happens. It really brightens the image up. But you think, oh, you know what? Let's put -50 because you can. Doesn't make it darker. It could. But it actually, if you go to minus values, it ends up sometimes with transparency kicking in, which is quite useful, I guess. But you can enter 0.0001. So you can get, which obviously sometimes you go too low, but 0.01. You can make it slightly darker by going that. Now you've got up and down arrow, and you can see as you do that, it lightens it up as I go through the values. So that's quite nice. But say you go to 20, and again you can use that, and you can see as you go through, there is a slight blurring effect, but to be honest, it's actually very hard to find images that blur particularly well with this, whereas it's more easy to get hit upon something like -80 to get a sort of like that sort of effect, a sharpening kind of effect, or edge effect by -80, 20, 44, etc. to achieve that, than a blur effect. So it's odd. I'm just saying it's just one of those weird filters that you can put like 0.01 there, and you can see now you get this sort of very unusual sharpening effect. But you can play with that. You can go to say 70 up here, but then you put 70, you lose it. You put -20 there, you get that. So it's one of those things that just the subtle change of value will actually affect it. Maybe -20 there, and see that reduces it again. It's very much a trial and error sort of filter that you 1 there, -50 there, and it's the same with all the custom blurs. There's custom blurs, I think, in like Photoshop, PaintShop Pro, there's loads of them, and they've all got this similar sort of thing where it's a grid and they never put presets. I do not know why people that create this custom blur have never thought, you know what, let's create a preset, sort of store a way of storing it, because entering these values, it's not really what I'd call fun as an interface goes. So 70 there, and you can see the result. You can make it like 100 there, and again put 100 there, put -100. Now it does seem, and I don't know, the second row seems to do a lot of sharpening. Maybe I'm completely kidding myself on that, but it does seem to have that sort of effect, and then other times not. Again, you can vary this value here. So you can see it brightens it up there, and click apply. And of course, as with all these filters, you can always go to filters and repeat, and you can see you brighten it up again and so on. Or you can always undo. So layer, fade, custom blur, and you can just fade it. Apply various other sort of darkening, blending, color dodge, overlay, etc. as well as fade and so on. Again, to create some interesting things. And you can always go back to it. So filters, use it there, or go to blur, custom blur, and you can see there obviously. Now, weirdly, another thing that's very odd is that when you cancel, quite a lot of Affinity Photo ones, when you cancel them, get all set back to the default. So you go into some like deform or whatever, or twirl, they're back to normal, back to the 0 state. In this, it remembers it in the one filter that would be nice not to remember everything. Because you might turn around and say, well, now I don't want all those settings. So the only way to get rid of them, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, and just run through it. And again, sometimes you might hit on something. Again, store it in a notebook if you want to use it to actually keep track of it. So click apply and you've got your slightly unusual I don't know, that's a very weird sort of blurring effect as well. And again, you can always apply it. Again, repeat custom blur. Now, of course, the result is it just gets lighter and lighter. Hope you found this of interest. Thank you much.